Should I tell him who it is, David?
Make him work for it.
Okay. Fuck it.
Say, feel that bass. We gon' shake up this place. Say, pick up that pace.
Here we are back at the Spartan Boxing Radio Show. You have Joey shooting, Corling giving the peace sign, and Dave scratching his goatee.
Oh, yes. Yeah, he will be though.
We are here to talk about what transpired during the Devin Haney versus Vasily Lomachenko fight for the undisputed heavyweight. Listen to me, lightweight. They looked like heavyweights to me on that night. They fought very well.
But Loma called it a heavyweight. Remember?
Lightweight championship. All four belts were on the line, and I think the fight lived up to the hype. I enjoyed it. And I will say, and I'm going to say my piece on this first, and then you guys can run with it. Something I mentioned in the group is that a lot was said about Haney not deserving this win, and whether he's deserving of the win or not, to me right now is irrelevant. I think that they were both deserving of the win. They both fought to their fullest potential on that night. They both trained very well. They both made weight. They both came into the ring and fought their asses off. And they can't control whatever the judges are going to do. And they can't control whatever the promotional company is going to do. And they can't control the business of boxing. All they can do is give it their all in the ring. And they both did that. And they're both deserving of praise. They're both share in the same league, an elite league. And that's all I have to say about that. I had Loma winning 7-5. I still haven't scored it again. I'm going to go back and score it with the sound off. I could change my mind, but I'm not mad. I see all these people mad and mad at Devin Haney. Why? The kid fought his ass off. He did phenomenal in there. Some people say, well, Loma this and Loma excuses. Loma's old. He was missing a lot of punches. Well, maybe it wasn't Loma, being old, why he was missing punches. Maybe it was what Devin was doing in there for him to miss punches. Devin missed a lot of punches too. That's what happens in high-level fights. These are high-level fights with this. These are chess matches. These aren't full domination. Same thing happened with Canelo and Golovkin. We didn't see the typical Canelo or the typical Golovkin in the first fight. We saw a chess match. We saw high level, and this is what you get sometimes. And I enjoyed it. And I'm glad I bought it, and I'm glad I didn't depend on Corling's jank streams.
Glad I didn't either.
Although they have saved me a few times before.
There you go.
But I bought it this time. I wanted to see it uninterrupted. So there you have it.
I was on the verge of buying it, but I got a good stream, not from Corling. I had a good stream, and I had people over, and it turned out fine. I did have it a draw. I did rewatch it. I did score it for Loma by a hair, 7-5. There were some swing rounds. I see a lot of people gave Loma the first. I didn't. I actually had him down 3-1 and coming back later in the fight. He didn't start as slow as I thought he would, and it was something that I said that he couldn't do. So he did get off early, and then even more so later in the fight, which he's kind of done with Lopez, with Jermaine Ortiz, and now again in his last 5 fights, he's kind of done this where he doesn't get off too fast, and then he comes on strong later in the fight. Um, Loma's a little bit of a sore loser. Devin can't really talk too much when it comes to, Loma wanting to appeal decisions and this and that because it was extremely close. I don't care what him and his father say. I think most people that I've come across think that Devin lost, like flat out lost. And you could make a case either way. Just what I favored when I watched it live was a draw, and when I rewatched it, I saw a little more from Loma than maybe the first go around. And you're into the fight, and it's hard to judge everything. And that could happen to the judges. I see a lot of people complaining about Moretti. I think his scorecard is a little too wide. But second time around, I saw Loma's work a little better. And I saw that the body work that really, really good body work that Haney was doing kind of dissipated in the middle to late rounds, and didn't turn it back on until late, which basically sealed him the 12th round, and that would have given it to me a draw. But when I rewatched it, I still had him losing. But you know what? It was a great fight, and if I would have paid for it, I wouldn't have been disappointed.
Yeah. Well, I'm like David. I paid for it. We talked about it. This was the anti-Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia fight. A real undisputed matchup. No weight clauses, no gimmicks, no frills. Just a straight up fight. And it's funny you had that Freudian slip, David, about heavyweight. This was a heavyweight matchup between two heavyweight minded guys, lightweights. But this was a clash of the titans. Definitely a clash of styles. And this is a clash of preferences, between judges and fans and all of that. I think I texted y'all, what was it, round 3 or round 4, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be one of them fights. This is it. This is gonna be one of those that's gonna be highly debated, hotly contested forever. So this is gonna go up there with Frazier Ali and Hagler and Leonard, and to where we're just gonna argue about this for the next 15, 20, 25 years. And then that's it. With me, I had Haney winning initially, right? Second 5. And I told y'all, I was like, you know what? 7-5 or a draw. I wouldn't be mad if Chinko won. These guys did that well. But let it be known that, me, I like defense, I like body work. I thought that Haney's defense was a little bit better, even though that Chinko had his rounds that he won were more decisive, right? So, but throughout the whole fight, when you score it on a round by round basis, the way that you're supposed to, I just like overall, I like Haney's defense. I've never seen Chinko really have that much trouble landing on a single opponent like he did against Devin Haney. Let me see. Also,
Ifimo, to be honest with you.
Maybe, but I think he came on stronger versus Teofimo later because remember he swept all the later rounds. I think Teofimo won the first 7.
He didn't win the round, just like this fight. He didn't win the 12th round.
Yeah, he didn't win the 12th. That's exactly right. And that's where I think the body shots maybe did pay dividends. Chinko needed those last championship rounds, right? And he won 10 and 11 clearly. Fuck what Moretti said. He won 10 and 11 clearly. But in round 12, it seems like now Chinko said that he didn't have anything, or he didn't need to win the 12th. That's what he said. But on the contrary, with me,
that's the De La Hoya mistake.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that it was just the body work throughout, the consistent body work that those dividends that Haney paid, early on in the fight, to where it just kind of sapped Lomachenko's energy, his stamina. We can speak to him being 35. He didn't look 35 that night. Or he didn't look like an old 35. He looked great. He really did. He looked great. And he looked like the fighter that he is, right? The fighter that everybody says that he is. The fighter that he was built to be. And Devin Haney, let it be known, this is what I said before. This is a kid, 24 years old, with no real trainer. He didn't have an Emmanuel Stewart or Eddie Futch or Roger Mayweather or Freddie Roach, he didn't have any of these super accomplished guys in his corner. And he had the wherewithal to stick to a game plan because he did, right?
It,
He
for the most
made
part.
yeah, and he made the necessary minor adjustments to fight a mature fight throughout. Because to be honest with you, round 10 and 11, I thought it was gonna fall apart. I was like, oh shit, here it goes. Like this is where that experience takes over, and this is where the youth comes in. Maybe he's gonna give up his chin. Maybe he's gonna go and swing for the fences. Maybe, but he really didn't look for that big moment. He didn't look for that revenge. He stayed the course, and he won because of it, regardless of what anybody says. He won in a close fight, and that's all I had.
Let me just add a couple of things that are interesting. Number one, the perspective is important. And we may be pissed at judges, and the business of boxing will do whatever. But I've said this many times before that when you're in the venue, fight looks different than when you're watching it on TV.
100%.
And perspective. And even while you're watching it on TV, Joey had it 3-1 for Devin. I had it 3-1 for Loma at the same point. And wow. out of the fight, I think maybe I had 5 or 6 swing rounds that could have gone either way. And here's the other interesting thing. If you look at the CompuBox numbers, Haney won 5 of the rounds. If you go by the CompuBox total punches landed, Loma won 5 of the rounds, and there were 2 rounds that were even in punches landed. I mean, that's how close this fight was. So there, to be mad at and to call this a robbery and to see all the stuff that's been going on with not just casual fans. I'm seeing like established boxing heads.
I think this is one of the few instances where everybody would have been happy with a draw.
Right.
I wouldn't have been happy with a draw either way, but actually, I would have been happy with a draw. I would have been happy with a draw. I would have made some money.
No, that's right. That's right. The odds.
I put some money on the draw and some money on, I still broke even, but that's okay. That's neither.
So I wanted to touch on one other thing with this fight. It's already being reported that it did 150,000 pay-per-views, which is kind of a shame given the magnitude of this fight compared to like Tank and Ryan, who's like the Instagram title of the world.
Right.
This was a big deal in the boxing world, in the sports world, where it actually mattered, not on Instagram. And for it to do that little, it just says a lot about the sport. Like these guys should be stars, but the sport just doesn't draw like that. Like you need the circus and the sideshow, like the Jake Paul or the Instagram people. You know what I mean? The YouTubers. You don't get that with, like, I know Haney tried to talk trash and build the fight up. I didn't believe anything he said. Everything he said might as well been the same shit that Ryan Garcia said. It was like forced and fake to me. And Loma doesn't talk trash, so you're not going to get like that kind of like outburst from him or anything like that just to draw attention.
And Tank can barely speak to begin with, so
it sucks. But you know what? That's the reality of the sport, and you could blame these guys, but they're just not built that way. Like Terrence Crawford is not built that way. He's not talking a lot in the media. His grammar isn't great as it is. I mean, neither him and Spence too. And we're going to talk about them in the announcement and all that. But it's just sad that a fight this important could only do that. Now I'm sure a lot of people did what I did, but still, 150,000. I think that's terrible.
Well, let me say this real fast. I had to think back because I'm taking into account that Devin Haney is a 24-year-old kid. Okay. This is his first American pay-per-view. Yes, they did the pay-per-view over there against Cambosos in Australia. Fine. That has no bearing on today, right? 24-year-old kid, and I'm trying to think of other people in their first pay-per-view, right? Namely Floyd Mayweather. And I think his first pay-per-view was against Arturo Gatti. I don't think those put up stellar numbers either. And Gotti was way more popular of a figure. than Lomachenko was. And Floyd Mayweather was Floyd Mayweather. He was like already cemented as number one or number two pound for pound at that time. So he was a little bit more known. And I think that did about 250 in a time where people were buying pay per view in droves.
365,000.
Oh, 365? Is that what it was? Okay. So it's, I want to say it's a good starting point. I'm not going to eviscerate either guy for not being marketable or not being a draw or whatever. Devin Haney, if you think about it, right, he became a lot more popular on that night based off of the hate, right? Now he might play the villain role. Now
I think the
people
push
might pay.
helped.
He's not good at it. Just don't.
I mean, you know what? Regardless of if you believe him or not, this fight had a visceral reaction, right? So if it has a visceral reaction, there's an Instagram page
What we
right
heard the other
now.
day was, oh, he's just trying to sell the fight. Well, that didn't work.
Well, check this out. What if the push didn't happen? Would we be at 100,000? Would it be at 80,000?
What's the fucking difference? Seriously.
I mean, hey, each penny
So
counts. Each dollar
so
counts.
you think that Tank Davis and maybe even Ryan Garcia are bigger draws than Devin Haney right now?
They are. They
Take
are.
is.
How do we
Certainly.
know? How do we know?
From what they just did together.
How do we know that's real number?
How do
Corley, how do we know that's a real number?
I think because both promotional outfits, right? Because that was
How do we know Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia numbers were real? How do we know the numbers last night? How do we know the numbers this Saturday were real?
Now I do see a couple of people online saying that 150,000 is bullshit, right?
Who's saying it?
Well, mostly fans who were in the venue saying that it had to do way more, simply because they probably got wrapped up in the emotion of that it was so packed. But
Okay, so they don't count.
right. Sellouts have no bearing and no bearing on pay per view buys. But I mean, I wish more.
I was at Golovkin and Lemieux, and it was pretty packed, and it was a great atmosphere in the arena, and they sold no pay-per-views.
They're like 65,000 or something like
It was
that.
like 115,000 or something. It was nothing. So that means nothing.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe we can look at it like this. I'm not going to be so hard on a 24-year-old kid who's doing his first pay per view in the United States, right? And then same thing with Chinko. I'm not going to be hard on a Ukrainian dude who doesn't speak English. They're not draws and they can't sell pay per views. Look, the fight looked super packed and sold out. It was an exciting atmosphere, and hopefully, this is a buildup of things to come.
The issue I have with all this and all these pay-per-view number rumors is that now you have one guy and his whole team, without proving it, without offering any proof, saying that they're the A side. And shitting on any other fighter that, including the undisputed lightweight champion.
Well, we had this discussion off camera this morning, me and Corling and a few other people, and I think we all said it. We all knew it before he even beat Ryan. If he wins and this does well, he was going to be a negotiation nightmare. So buckle up.
It's over.
We don't know if it did well or if it didn't do well because they never post real numbers. They never even show them. They just have somebody give a rumor to somebody else to put out there into the ether of the internet.
Yeah, well,
you're on mute.
Sorry, I'm getting phone calls. How you come up with the notion of you can't offer me this or that because I already make that. Remember we heard that before too. When someone said they already make $6 or $7 million, so you can't offer me that. And we know damn well that person doesn't make that money. So now Tank can say, this is the pay-per-view numbers that were floated out there. And Devin ain't shit because Devin can't even do 100 and 200,000 in an undisputed fight against Lomachenko, against a great fighter.
I'll tell you this: Leonard Ellerbe has been saying that shit about Tank since Devin was with the Zone, right? And this right here, since a number is out there, this is only gonna make it worse, and
And the
it's gonna be.
problem is everybody believes that number, and everybody's going to believe this 150, and that's that. And he's going to, you know what? He's going to make it where, like you said, he ain't chasing nobody.
And it's
He's going to make
unfortunate
everybody
because
face him.
the undisputed champion is not Tank Davis.
At all.
It's not Tank Davis. It's Devin Haney right now.
Tank
And
has never
and
even
and
told.
here's what we know in boxing: belts mean nothing. It's a popularity contest.
Nope. Belts mean nothing until they mean something, right?
And then they don't when they don't. When
And
you
then
don't
they
feel
don't.
like they don't anymore.
So now that we know where this fight stands and how it ended and who the winner and who the loser was, now we can really talk about where they go from here. Devin goes where from here? There was a rumor that Devin had signed a 2-fight deal put out by Paulie Malignaggi
And he
with
knocked
Top
that.
Rank, and
Yep.
Devin Haney knocked it down with a tweet.
Yep.
So where does Devin go from here?
Hmm. If you're really asking me, I would love to see a rematch. Um, I think what Clemus, he petitioned the WBA and all the sanctioning bodies to be the mandatory and be the number one, contender for all those belts again, and which is in turn petitioning for a rematch, which is fine. He could do whatever he wants. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But if it was me, I wouldn't put my body through anymore, and I would just go straight up to 140 and just drop the belts, leave them to Shakur, Jermaine Ortiz, or whoever the fuck is down there, and that's it. If it's me, just because of I wouldn't give in to the societal pressure. I wouldn't give in to the pressure of boxing fans. They're not going to be happy regardless, unless I lose. If I am Devin Haney, because I am fully in belief that he's the villain now. That's it. So if it's me, I'm moving up to 140. I'm not putting my body through anymore, and then that's it.
Fine. Who are you
He-
fighting
he-
at 140?
Now, but check this out.
That's what I want to
He's not
know.
the villain. He's not the
Check this
villain.
out. If that is all dependent upon if I can get a big money fight with Tank Davis at a fair price. If Tank's talking about that 85-15 stuff, 90-10, I'm moving straight up to 140. I ain't fooling with that dude. And remember, Tank has fought at 140 too. He's fought at 140 as well.
Wow, this sounds familiar. I think I said this against Ryan Garcia, but now,
No,
now it suits your argument.
I understand. I understand.
No,
I
fuck you.
understand what you're saying.
No, fuck you. How about that?
I understand. But at the same time, now, Ryan has no legs to stand on. I don't give a damn.
Oh, fuck Ryan.
Dev has legs to stand on. This dude is super accomplished in Tank Davis's weight division on Tank Davis's watch. So, yeah, like Dev can go up there now. I think Dev can also, as the undisputed champion, he can go up there and challenge for any belt immediately, right? So that's Regis and that's Josh Taylor, or the winner of Josh Taylor and Teofimo Lopez.
Probably that fight.
Yeah, that crazy fight.
I think as undisputed from a weight class below, he can go right up, right?
He could immediately and be the mandatory immediately.
Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully he could do that. But I wouldn't say at 135 for anybody unless it's Davis at a fair price. At a fair price. That's it. Which isn't going to happen.
Okay. So he's not getting a fair price. Right. I don't think the Loma petition will go anywhere. So going up to 140 seems like the right move. Plus, to see how he needed 2 or 3 tries to make 135. Why would you, like you said, why would you kill yourself to make that fight? So fight who? Jermaine Ortiz? Why would you kill yourself to fight Jermaine Ortiz? You know what I mean? Unless it was Shakur. But other than that, go to 140, but just because you already proved that you kind of have a struggle making 35. So you go to 40. I think Josh Taylor's way too big for him.
I think so too.
I think that fight would be a big problem for him. I think he needs to test the waters, like he said. And this is now I'm thinking along the lines of things according to what he said. And he said to go up and test the waters. I think if he gets to 140, he'll never go back to 135. So you could drop the belts.
Drop him.
And then try to make a fight or two to get your feet wet. And depending on how he feels, then maybe you go after Josh Taylor because Josh Taylor will be Tiafimo.
Yep.
I think
maybe one or two fights at 140 and then make a push.
I think there are some good fights for him to test the waters at 140. You have Jose Cepeda up there. That would make for a good fight and a winnable fight. A good test for Devin, and a winnable fight for Devin. Just has to watch out for the bomb, but he could probably outbox him. He could go, and that's a top ranked fighter. He could fight Arnold Barboza, although I don't know if Top Rank is willing to sacrifice him right now.
You got Pedraza up there too. Pedraza's there.
Pedraza's another one. That's another Pedraza always comes to fight.
Yep.
I think that maybe a Jose Ramirez would be pushing it at this point.
Yeah,
Big.
I think so too.
Big.
So, other than that,
who he can fight? I'll tell you who he can fight, and he gave Tiafimo a hard time. Sandor Martin.
Yeah.
Sandor Martin, but he's with Matchroom, so he would have to. And Hearn just said that he doesn't have the money to pay him.
Motorless right now. He's a free agent. He can go back to
Right.
Eddie. I'm sure Eddie will take him back for one fight.
But Eddie just said that Devin is asking too much, and all he has to give him is not Sandor Martin, but Rougarou. So that would be, yeah, but I don't think he can pay him right now.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably going to be a Top Rank fight before we see a Tank Davis fight.
What about like a Comey?
Comey is also doable, but didn't he just lose?
Well, he lost to Chenko, and then he lost to.
He lost
to Ramirez. When was that fight?
He just got knocked out 2 fights ago.
It was in March. So yeah, he would be ready because if Devin just fought now, yeah, they could make that happen.
Richard Comey he just fought Ramirez.
March 25th.
Yeah, in March. So
that's not an impossible fight to make either.
Not an impossible fight.
And I don't think Devin will be the nightmare to deal with that Tank is going to be.
Absolutely. And then
he's gonna value himself and he's gonna want things, but he's not gonna go the whole I'm the A side and like you said 85-15 whatever. Nope. I don't think Devin will do that.
So you guys honestly don't think that he'll stay at 135 for another fight?
I don't.
It's not unless it's Tank for a fair price.
He's not going to risk fighting a Shakur Stevenson. It's obvious to me. If he even had this much interest to fight Shakur, he would have stayed in the ring. They just booked as soon as Shakur walked in and left him hanging there, looking like a punk.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Tank's going to want him to come down to 132.
Yeah. Rehydration clause at 148. Like, no. And to be honest with you, as an undisputed champ, I wouldn't fool with that. Like, no. Fuck that. No. Hell no.
Go fight your shitty.
Go fight the real champs.
Fights. Go fight some crap fight and go make your $200,000 pay-per-views. Fuck you.
Go sing at the mall.
Because, he can say whatever he wants, but Tank never had good pay-per-view numbers until he fought Ryan.
See what I mean?
200,000-300,000,
and that's not verifiable.
But they're gonna lean on the Ryan ones only and be like, "Oh, 10 of your pay-per-views, one of my." Nah, I can't deal with that. There would be no way that I could deal with that unless, hey, Tank, come and see me at 140. But whatever. That's another story altogether.
So
Let's move
Devin
on because
goes.
I'm pressed.
Devin goes to 140. Where does Loma go? Home? Is he done? Does he come back for another fight? I don't see a rematch happening.
If the belts get dropped, then he could try to, you know,
He's
maybe
not.
one or two fights and try to
They've already said he doesn't have the time to do that.
Wow.
go back to 130 then.
I think he goes home. I think he
And just
retires. I think he
I mean,
retires.
he was going home. You know, who knows if he comes back?
Yeah, I think he retires. He had that face, that retirement face to me.
The crying at the end too.
No, it wasn't even the face and all that. He said in one of the face-offs that this is my last chance before the fight.
So why keep trying if it's your last chance?
I mean, wow. You're right. You know, you're right.
Wow.
So I think he goes home. I think he hangs it up and
goes a long way into Ukraine.
Puts on the fatigues and puts on the boots and becomes General Chenko one more time.
One more time.
Killing Russians. What is he up to, Joey? How many has he killed?
He's got 200 kills.
Oh, okay.
That's with his hand. That's only hand.
Yeah. I think he blew up a school.
Any kind of weaponry.
He blew up a school of Russian kids.
I saw that with his hands.
He was eating body parts.
He threw a hand grenade in a Russian school.
So since Joey is pressed of time, we're now going to talk about the announcement that came out this week about a certain fight that we've been waiting for a long time, which
Another undisputed fight. This is fantastic.
We have booked before and had to cancel tickets and places to stay because of, fuckery in the business. I'm not going to say who's to blame.
Some of us support boxing, and as soon as it was announced, some of us booked a flight and a hotel.
Fuck you both. And I'm going to say this.
When I say some of us, I mean me.
And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to direct this. What I'm going to say is directed to Terrence Crawford directly. Okay. What I'm going to speak about.
Terrence, if you're listening or watching.
Terrence, if you're listening and watching, I've been one of your biggest fans. Verifiable. Okay. And I have the gear to prove it. I have been to several of Terrence Crawford's fights. I have more gear to prove it. Okay. Wait, I'm not done. I'm not a fan. I'm a super Bud Crawford fan. You guys know this. You guys know this.
And you met him.
And I met him in 2017 when we went to see the Lomachenko versus Rigondeaux fight.
The Loma Rigo fight that never happened.
The one that never happened.
Right.
I am disappointed, Terrence. I am disappointed greatly that you couldn't negotiate 3 extra days for me. That you couldn't tell Al Heyman, Errol Spence, and all the people in the PBC, hold on, we need to wait for Dave.
No, because me being the super fan and me I've been to, at least 5 Crawford fights. Khan, Diaz, what's his name?
We went to Diaz together. We went to Mean Machine together.
Mean Machine. We went to the Diaz fight together too, right?
We did.
Right. We
didn't go to the Porter fight together.
No, we didn't go. Who was the kid? The one with the Hank Lundy. I was at that fight with my wife.
But for those of you who don't know, I'm not going to be in the country. I am leaving this coming Tuesday for Spain.
He knew the following weekend that I had plans.
Indeed.
I have rented a house in the Hamptons, and he's not going to disturb my beach time, so he fit it right between my wife's birthday one weekend And the Hamptons weekend, 2 weeks later, he put it right where I needed it to be. Thank you, Terrence.
And
You
I'm not
truly
coming
care
back
about me,
from Spain till August 1st.
and I'm all booked.
And I just got to say, shame
Go
on
to
you.
hell.
Shame on you. And I'm not gonna put
Go to hell.
all I'm not gonna put all of this on Bud because he's still my favorite fighter. He's still going to do what he needs to do in there. He's still gonna wreck his opponent. I'm gonna have him share this issue with his opponent, Mr. Error Spent Jr.
Corling, just so you
Because
know, on BoxRec, Errol Spence is not ranked at all.
but if it's in your heart, Terrence, to hook up a brother over here with a
One,
pay-per-view from
2,
Spain,
3,
I'll get up at 4 a.m. to watch this fight
4,
and root for you
5.
because I know that Error Spence denture is going to fly out of his mouth come that fight, come that night. That's how this fight is going to end, and I'm willing to put money on it. My PayPal's open. My Cash App is open. My Zelle is open. Come on, bring it.
This will be my 5th Crawford fight.
Incredible.
Probably more than any other fighter.
This will be. You know what? Hold on, real quick. The pendulum is swinging one way. Let's go ahead and swing this shit back the other.
Go ahead.
As President Texan on this podcast, let's go big fish, drown this dude so we can get back to normal. And then that's it. Just going to let you know this will be my 4th Errol Spence fight. So
This will be my 2nd Errol Spence fight.
there you go. The pendulum swings one way. I'm swinging it back the other. I'm not going to let y'all get away with that. Both of y'all doesn't equal what's going on down here in the state of Texas, dog. Let's go. Big fish. Thank you for making the fight. And I think that you too, both of y'all, owe this boy Errol Spence an apology. Because y'all were talking about Keith Thurman and y'all were talking about this. Errol did. Wait. He did exactly what he said that he was going to do. He said, you know what? No, not golf claps. I need resounding applause. Applause bigger than the state of Texas. But you can't do it. Because you know nothing about anything.
And you know why? Because he's one of the only people over there that actually does what he says. And if it wasn't for you, I'd actually like him. But because you like him, fuck you and fuck him. Other than that, dude.
I like Bud. I'm gonna tell you, I really do like Bud, right? But in times of war, I'm sorry. I just hope he tears y'all's boy to pieces.
Is your PayPal open, yes or no?
You know what? And it's so funny. And we had a proper segue from Chaco to Devin Haney and how close the fight was and the potential politics of boxing and all of that. No, it isn't. Too evenly matched.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen in this fight.
No.
Not going to happen. Joy and I were talking about this. You know why? Because Devin and Loma both proved to be at an elite level. They both proved to be great fighters.
Right.
Errol Spence is a good fighter. Terrence Crawford is a special fighter. That's it. Based on the eye test, based on the accomplishments, based on what's going to happen that night.
Remember,
you will have to admit it
matters.
You will have to admit it publicly on the next Sunday. I don't want you hiding. I don't want you getting in the shower. I don't want you doing nothing. You're going to be there live on Facebook, on YouTube.
I'm going to make him.
Listen,
he's going to be in the
Twitter.
room now.
Yes, you're going to hold him down. I have Johnny hold him down and you film him. And he's going to have to admit that Terrence Bud Crawford is a special fighter of one in a generation and that his boy is just okay.
Let me, you know what? And I'm way better at this shit talking in psychological games than y'all.
No, you're
If
not.
Earl,
You're
no, no,
you're
no, no,
you're okay at it, and you're gonna say it now, and then come the week of the fight, you were gonna be a nervous wreck.
no.
But
Y'all are too.
no,
He was
no,
a nervous wreck this
because
last week.
I'm
Y'all
so
are too.
sure. I'm so sure of what's gonna happen in this fight. I'm so
Ah,
sure.
what's gonna happen?
You
Listen,
gotta wait. You gotta wait and see when we do the pre-fight podcast.
Okay.
you see
David's gonna
that?
have to do it from Spain.
You see
What's
that?
that? What's that? An
That's
inhaler?
that's my inhaler. That's what I think about this.
You should have sent it through the screen over here.
That's
Look,
what I
look,
think about that.
we're not gonna go too deep into this. The
No.
fight's announced. We're
Right,
all
right.
happy except David. David's pissed because he's not gonna be there. He's got to stay up to 5 o'clock in the morning to watch the fight. But I'm definitely gonna be there, and Corling will probably book his flight the day
Oh,
after the fight.
the day after the fight. That's when
Yeah.
I'll and
So
I'll see.
that's that. And I'm just doing this because I'm pressed for time. There's one other thing we wanted to touch on,
Mm-hmm.
and me and you were discussing something last night about the
Mm-hmm.
rules and this notion that Loma ducked Haney.
I didn't. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you didn't say that.
I said that I hate the politics in boxing, and it hurts boxing.
No. Because this is where you don't get off.
Go ahead.
You know who I spoke to this morning?
Who'd you speak with this morning?
You know who's probably going to join us on our next podcast?
Who's gonna join us on our next?
It's one of the negotiation attorneys for the WBO.
Yes, I got some questions for him. Go ahead, though.
Olivetti from Puerto Rico. I called this morning. I asked him about the Loma situation. I
Wait,
asked
wait.
him what is the
What's his
rotation.
name?
Wait,
What's his name again? What's his name again?
Gustavo Olivieri.
Okay, cool.
I asked him about the rotation.
You want me to help you with that name?
Help him
Gustavo.
out.
Hey.
Gustavo Olivieri. So I
Gustavo.
asked him about the rotation for the mandatory defenses, and he basically said what I told you last night, but you don't want to believe me. So I'll do the homework, I'll do the legwork, and I'll make sure I embarrass him. He first acquired the WBA 135 title, then the WBO, and then that August, he got the WBC. He said the arrangement is you defend whatever title you got first, that is going to be your first mandatory defense. The
Okay.
only way it's overlooked is if you're trying to fight a unification, which he was going to do with Teofimo regardless. Because the little video you sent was Aegis Klimas, whatever his name is, was talking about, we look forward to the winner of Haney and Comey because there was going to be a title involved. 2 or 3 weeks later, Haney fights, gets hurt. He's completely out of the conversation. Now, what happened was Devin was elevated. He was the number one ranked fighter in the division under Loma, but he was never made his mandatory because it was never the WBC's turn. If Loma just had the 3 belts, at the very least, he would have been third.
Okay.
Because it had to be the WBA first, because Loma won that title first, then the BO, then the BC.
Okay.
So all the crying and bitching and moaning, and I'll send you his phone number if you want to go clear this up.
Oh no, I'm waiting.
No problem.
Waiting until the podcast. This is
You
what I
believe
want.
me. You believe me. Okay. All right. And the other thing I asked about was Jermell Charlo. What is going on with him? And there was some document that I did send you. You can see it. You can read it. It's in our chat. And basically, he has until September 30th not to make a fight. He has till September 30th to fight.
To fight. Yep.
Tim Tszyu.
Right.
Like Tim Tszyu got to win. And he told me if Tszyu loses, then he's out. He's risking his shot against Charlo with this fight coming up against Ocampo on Juneteenth weekend.
I can't wait. This is, you know what? If we get him on here, and if you're watching right now, shout out to you. But I definitely have some questions to ask.
Well, once this is posted, I can send it to him and I can tell him what we discussed. But he went over some more stuff, a lot of technical stuff. And I'm sure there's more questions. And I was like, I really thanked him for the information. And I wanted to know if he would come on and maybe expand on some of it. Because I know you want to ask him stuff and David too. So
Right.
he totally agreed. We'll make it worth his while, or we'll work around his schedule, and we'll do it when
Yep.
it's best for him, and hopefully it'll be a good podcast.
That's beautiful.
But
Hey,
you are now getting what you want, and I told you that I can do
yes,
this.
sir. Yes,
Who
sir.
delivers?
I
Who delivers?
appreciate you.
Corley
Joey,
is the biggest WBO fan in existence.
man, we about to see. You know what? Now that's
I
all
want
the
the T-shirt. Where's my T-shirt?
Joey the mailman Santana.
Thank you.
That's it. You know what? And speaking of, you know what? Let's go back to Errol and Crawford. I remember that I wanted you to wear that I Love Texas shirt with a little bear hugging the
Yeah,
heart.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we gonna find that. What size, Joey?
Oh, you
What's
don't want? I'm a men's large, but you don't have to worry about buying that.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna buy it. You need it.
I'm gonna buy you a shirt with a filleted fish on it. A McDonald's filet o fish. That's what I'm buying.
Lord have mercy, the little square, the triangle, or
It's
the
gonna be.
rectangle.
It's the T-shirt's gonna have Oscar De La Hoya eating a fillet of fish.
Uh,
That's gonna be your shirt.
tartar sauce shooting in his face. Yeah, he probably likes that.
That ain't tartar sauce.
Yeah, that's cool though. You know what? No, I'm actually really happy that you got this dude, Mr. Gustavo. Thank you in advance. But yeah, I definitely have some questions that I've been wondering about for a long time. So
Well,
yeah,
Mel better get it moving. He's got like 3 months left.
Start writing your list down. Start getting your mind off of the next fight that's coming. Start preparing yourself mentally for the destruction, and reach out. If you feel depressed, if you feel like you need some mental health advice,
run the commercial.
we'll spot you. We'll get you.
Man.
You'll be all right. You'll be taken care of, Corley. We would never let you suffer that way.
I'm gonna let you know this.
If you get postpartum depression, we got you.
Postpartum. Oh shit. Well, I'll tell you this. On July the 29th, look, shout out to both guys. Shout out to both teams. Look, I'm gonna be a nervous fucking wreck. Almost. Look, I'm planning to go to the fight, but almost to where I don't even want to be around anybody. Like, I don't think I can sit next to Joe for this fight.
No. You will sit right next to me.
I don't want to be there. But
I'm telling you right now, I am going to be so intolerable.
you know what? And intolerable next to the most reasonable, because I'm a pleasure to watch boxing around.
This is for you, buddy. This is for you. Hold on.
Beautiful.
That's all you need to know. That's it.
What is this?
Hey, we're gonna get a strike.
I know, right?
We're gonna get a YouTube strike.
Shout out to Bill Withers.
There you go.
That's hilarious.
Listen, bring a wheelchair.
There's always tomorrow.
Bring a wheelchair.
Lean on me when you're not strong.
I just want
to
where I don't even remember
for this. I cannot
make sure Corling's wearing Depends diapers, something, because he's gonna lose. He's gonna become incontinent.
I'm gonna wear them too because I don't want to go to the bathroom like in the middle of the fight. So I'm gonna let it fly right there.
You let it fly?
Yeah, I might not drink that night.
Speaking of intolerable shit, let me fly in your pants. That's about as bad as it gets.
All right.
Anyway, that's it for today.
That wraps it up right there.
That wraps it up, and we will see you soon for the next episode. I will be most likely out of the States for that. So it'll be maybe a little bit of a different format, but we'll make it work. But we're definitely looking forward to the next few fights. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and
Cheers.
please, we need to set up a GoFundMe for poor Corling for his mental health and well-being to be cashed out in August, because
Oh wow.
come the 29th, it's just going to be a disaster for him.
Either
Anyway.
way,
Hashtag can't wait.
Can't wait.
Can't
My PayPal's open. Let's go.
Mine too.
Bye.
Adios.
peace. Y'all are crazy. It's going.
So,
Hey,
wait.